I watched my wife tell a room full of strangers I was an uneducated warehouse worker, holding her back. Her boss laughed. Everyone laughed. Then I stood up and told them the truth. I own the company. I own everything. What I found out next destroyed more than just my marriage. It destroyed my entire family. My name is Ryan Shepard. I'm 45 years old, and I've spent the last 2 decades building something most people only dream about. But that night, standing in the grand ballroom of the Riverside Hotel, watching my wife celebrate her promotion, I realized I'd been living a lie. Adelaide looked stunning in her emerald dress. Our kids weren't there. Asher and Ava, our 16-year-old twins, were at a school event, while Owen and Ellie were with my sister. It's an adult evening, Adelaide had said. No need to bore them with corporate speeches. I'd arrived early, against her wishes. She wanted me to show up at 9, after the important networking. I came at 7 instead, slipping through the service entrance. Call it intuition. Call it the sick feeling I'd been carrying for months. Whatever it was, it saved me from complete blindness. I positioned myself behind a decorative pillar near the bar. Nobody noticed me. Why would they? To everyone at Summit Manufacturing, I was just Adelaide's husband, the warehouse guy who moved boxes and swept floors. They had no idea those warehouses were mine. That Summit Manufacturing itself was mine. Austin Hampton took the stage around 8. 51 years old, silver hair, $1,000 suit. The kind of man who commanded attention without effort. He was my CEO, though he didn't know I was his boss. Ladies and gentlemen, Austin began, his voice smooth. Tonight we celebrate Adelaide Shepard, our new director of operations. Applause filled the room. Adelaide beamed, standing near the stage in a cluster of executives. Adelaide has been with Summit Manufacturing for 7 years, Austin continued. In that time, she's revolutionized our production efficiency and increased profit margins by 42%. But what impresses me most isn't just her brilliant mind. It's her determination to succeed despite significant challenges at home. My stomach tightened. Where is he going with this? You see, Adelaide has had to overcome obstacles many of us couldn't imagine, Austin said, walking around the podium now. While we go home to supportive partners who understand our careers, Adelaide goes home to someone who will. He paused for effect. Let's just say her husband is simple. He's a warehouse worker with no education. Sweet guy, apparently, but not exactly what you'd call intellectually stimulating. Laughter rippled through the crowd, scattered at first, then building. I watched Adelaide's face. She wasn't stopping him, wasn't offending me. Adelaide succeeded despite her husband being just a warehouse worker with no education, Austin declared. That takes real strength of character. More laughter. Someone near the front actually applauded. Then Adelaide took the microphone. Austin, you're terrible, she said, laughing. But yes, it's true. Ryan means well, but the truth is, he's holding me back. Coming home from days like this, and having to explain everything in simple terms, because he just doesn't get it. It's exhausting. The room erupted in sympathetic murmurs and nods. They understood. They'd all been there, stuck with someone who didn't measure up. I stepped out from behind the pillar. My footsteps echoed as I crossed the polished floor. People noticed me halfway there. Confused looks. Who is this? Security should really handle crashers better. Adelaide saw me when I was 10 feet away. Her face went white. Austin looked annoyed. I climbed the 3 steps to the stage and took the microphone from Adelaide's frozen hand. I said, my voice steady. I'm Ryan Shepard, the warehouse worker, the guy with no education who's holding my wife back. The room went silent. You could hear people breathing. That was quite a speech, Austin, I continued. Really moving. But here's what's funny. That company you all work for? Summit Manufacturing. The one that just promoted my wife. I paused, let the moment stretch. I own it. Every warehouse, every factory, every single share. It's mine. Absolute silence. Then Adelaide laughed. A short, sharp sound of panic. Ryan, that's not, you don't dash. Summit Manufacturing is owned by Shepard Industries, I said. Founded by my grandfather in 1962. I'm the majority shareholder. Austin here. I gestured to him. He's my employee. You all are. Austin's face had gone from annoyed to gray. Mr. Shepard, I had no idea dash. Of course you didn't, I said. Because I've spent 20 years pretending to be someone I'm not. Living small so my wife could feel big. And this is how that story ends. I set the microphone down and walked off the stage. The crowd parted like water. Behind me, I heard Adelaide start to cry. Heard Austin stammering apologies. I didn't look back. I just kept walking out of that ballroom, out of that hotel, out of the life I'd been living. The breaking had begun. I didn't go home. Couldn't. The thought of walking into that house, seeing pictures of Adelaide, and me smiling like we were happy, like we were real, it made my stomach turn. Instead, I drove. Just drove north on Highway 87, windows down despite the October chill, letting the cold air clear my head. My phone started ringing around 9:30. Adelaide, of course. Then again, and again. I watched it light up on the passenger seat, her photo flashing, a picture from our vacation in Hawaii 2 years ago, both of us laughing on the beach. Had she been lying even then? How long had I been a joke? Around 10, I pulled into a rest stop, sat there in my truck, hands gripping the steering wheel, staring at nothing. A semi rumbled past, its red taillights disappearing into the darkness. I felt like that truck, just moving forward because stopping meant dealing with what was behind you. My phone rang again. Different number this time. I answered without thinking. Ryan. It was my sister, Claire. What the hell did you just do? You heard already? It's all over social media, Claire said. Someone posted video from the party. You revealing yourself. Adelaide crying, the whole thing. It has 200,000 views already. I closed my eyes. Of course someone had filmed it. Everything gets filmed now. Ryan, are you okay? Claire's voice softened. Where are you? Rest stop. Somewhere north of the city. I don't even know. Come to my place. Dave and I have a guest room ready. You shouldn't be alone right now. I need to think, Claire. Need to figure out what comes next. What comes next is you don't make any decisions while you're this angry, she said firmly. Come here. We'll have coffee. You can sleep. And tomorrow we'll deal with whatever needs dealing with. She was right. She usually was. Claire had always been the practical one, the one who thought 3 steps ahead while I was still processing step 1. Okay, I said finally. I'll be there in 20 minutes. After I hung up, I sat there a few minutes longer. Then I opened my phone and pulled up the video Claire had mentioned. Found it instantly. Already trending on Twitter. There I was, walking onto that stage. Adelaide's face going white. My voice, steady and calm, delivering the truth like a hammer. The shocked silence. Austin Hampton looking like he might pass out. Then me walking away while chaos erupted behind me. The comments were brutal. Half the people called Adelaide every name in the book. The other half were calling me a liar, saying it was fake, staged for attention. A few thought I was a hero. Most just wanted more drama. I closed the app, started the truck, pulled back onto the highway toward Claire's house in Ridgefield. My phone buzzed with a text. Adelaide, Ryan, please come home. We need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. I can explain everything. I stared at that message for a long moment. Misunderstanding. Right. I'd misunderstood the words that came out of her mouth. Misunderstood the laughter, the agreement, the way she'd smiled while her boss called me simple. I typed back. Stay at the house tonight. I'll come by tomorrow when you're at work to get some things. Don't call me again. Send it. Turned off my phone completely. The rest of the drive to Claire's passed in a blur. Trees and darkness, and the occasional headlight coming the other way. Each mile felt like leaving something behind. The life I built. The man I pretended to be. The marriage I thought was real. Claire was waiting on her front porch when I pulled up. She hugged me without saying anything. Just held on tight while I stood there trying to remember how to breathe. Come on, she said finally. Dave made his famous chili. You need to eat. I'm not hungry. Tough. You're eating anyway. She pulled me toward the house. And then you're going to tell me everything. From the beginning. No more secrets, Ryan. Not anymore. We walked inside together. Her husband Dave was in the kitchen, stirring something on the stove. He gave me a nod. The kind men give each other when words aren't enough. I sat at their kitchen table, accepted the bowl of chili Claire put in front of me, and started talking. I spent that night at Claire's, lying awake in her guest room, staring at the ceiling. Around 3 in the morning, I finally gave up on sleep and went downstairs. Found Dave already in the kitchen, making coffee. Couldn't sleep either, he asked, pouring me a cup. Too much going through my head. We sat at the kitchen table in comfortable silence. Dave had been my brother-in-law for 12 years. He knew when to talk and when to just be present. You know what the worst part is? I said finally, it's not even the affair. It's that she was ashamed of me. All those years, I thought we had an understanding. I thought she knew who I really was. She didn't know, Dave said quietly. That's what makes it worse. She knew and chose to pretend you were nothing. The sun came up around 6. Claire joined us, already dressed for the day. Okay, she said, setting her laptop on the table. We need to talk strategy. Your story is everywhere, Ryan. Local news picked it up. The business journals are running pieces about Shepherd Industries. Your phone's probably exploding. I left it off all night. Now I turn it on. 73 missed calls. 216 text messages. My email was over 500 unread. Most of these are from Adelaide, Claire said, scrolling through. But there's also reporters, business associates, and... She paused. Your kids. Asher called you 4 times last night. My stomach dropped. The twins. Owen and Ellie. God, I hadn't even thought about how they'd find out. I need to talk to them, I said, reaching for my phone. Wait. Claire grabbed my wrist. What are you going to say? They're going to have questions, Ryan. Hard questions about why you lied to them their whole lives. She was right. My kids thought I worked in a warehouse. Thought we lived modestly because that's all we could afford. They had no idea their father owned a manufacturing empire worth $300 million. I called Asher. He answered on the first ring. Dad, where are you? Mom's freaking out. And there's all this stuff online about you owning Summit Manufacturing. Is it true? It's true, son. All of it. Silence. Then, you've been lying to us? This whole time. Not lying. Just not telling the whole truth. It's complicated, Asher. Can you and Ava meet me somewhere today? I'll explain everything. Mom says you humiliated her. Says you destroyed her career because you were jealous of her success. I felt my jaw tighten. Of course she'd spin it that way. That's not what happened. Meet me for lunch at Morrison's Diner at noon. Just you and Ava. We'll talk, and I'll answer every question you have. Honest answers, I promise. Another pause. Okay, we'll be there. After I hung up, Claire was watching me with concern. You're going to tell them everything? About Adelaide and Austin? Not everything, but enough. They deserve the truth. I stood up. I need to go to the house first. Get some clothes, my documents. Adelaide should be at work by 10. Want me to come with you? Dave offered. No, this is something I need to do alone. I drove back to Westchester around 9. The house looked exactly the same. 2-story colonial, neat lawn, basketball hoop, and a driveway. We lived here for 8 years. Raised our kids here. I'd paid for it in cash, but Adelaide thought we had a mortgage. Just another layer of a lie. Adelaide's car was gone. Good. I let myself in through the front door. The house smelled like her perfume. Photos of our family covered the walls. Vacations, birthdays, Christmas mornings. All those moments I thought were real. Maybe they had been, once. Before everything got twisted, I went upstairs to our bedroom. Started packing a suitcase. Clothes, toiletries, the watch my grandfather gave me. As I was pulling shirts from the closet, I noticed something. A shoebox on Adelaide's side, pushed back behind her winter boots. Something made me pull it out. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. Handwritten notes on Summit Manufacturing letterhead. All from Austin Hampton to Adelaide. I sat on the bed and started reading. The first one was dated 3 years ago. Adelaide, last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. We need to be more careful. But God, I don't want to be. 3 years. They've been doing this for 3 years. My hands started shaking as I read through them. Love notes. Plans to meet at hotels. Austin talking about leaving his wife. Adelaide writing back about how Ryan was clueless and would never find out. The last letter was from 2 weeks ago. Soon, we won't have to hide anymore. Once you're director, we'll have the power to make real changes. Maybe even push Ryan's company in a direction that makes our lives easier. I read that line 3 times. Push my company. They've been planning something. Using Adelaide's position to what? Sabotage me? Manipulate Summit's operations? I took the entire box. Morrison's Diner was a place we'd been coming to for years. Me and the kids, anyway. Adelaide rarely joined us. Too busy with work. Now I wondered if she'd actually been busy or just avoiding family time because it reminded her of the husband she was ashamed of. Asher and Ava walked in at noon sharp. 16 years old, both of them tall and serious looking. They got that from Adelaide. The skeptical expressions, though, those were all theirs. Dad, Ava said, sliding into the booth across from me. Her voice was careful, controlled. We need answers. I know, and you'll get them. But first, I want to say I'm sorry. Sorry you found out this way. Sorry I wasn't honest with you from the start. Why weren't you? Asher asked. Why let us think you were just some warehouse guy when you apparently owned the whole company? I took a breath. This was the hard part. Because when you kids were born, I wanted you to grow up normal. Not spoiled. Not entitled. I wanted you to understand the value of work, of earning things, of not taking money for granted. My father grew up wealthy, and it made him arrogant. Disconnected from real people. I didn't want that for you. So you lied instead, Ava said flatly. I kept a secret. There's a difference. Is there? She leaned forward. Dad, we're not kids anymore. Asher and I are 16. We could have handled knowing the truth. Instead, we had to find out from social media that our father's some secret millionaire who owns Summit Manufacturing. Do you know how that feels? I can imagine. Can you? Asher's voice rose slightly. Can you imagine your whole life being a lie? Everything you thought you knew about your family turning out to be fake. The waitress came by. We ordered burgers for them, coffee for me. Nobody was really hungry, but it gave us something to do with our hands. It wasn't all fake, I said once she'd left. The important stuff was real. Me loving you kids. Our family time. The values I taught you about hard work and integrity, those were real. The only thing that was fake was the size of my bank account. And Mom? Ava asked quietly. Was she fake too? There it was. The question I've been dreading. Your mother and I are having problems, I said carefully. Adult problems that have nothing to do with you kids. But those problems are why I finally decided to stop hiding who I am. Everyone's talking about what she said, Asher said. About you holding her back. About you being simple. He said the word like it hurt. Your mother said things she shouldn't have. Things that weren't true. And I reacted by revealing something she didn't want revealed. We both made mistakes. That's not fair. Ava's eyes flashed. She stood up there and let her boss mock you. Let everyone laugh at you. Then agreed with him. That's not a mistake, Dad. That's cruel. Ava dash. No. I'm not going to pretend Mom was just having a bad day, or whatever. I saw the video, Dad. We both did. She wasn't offending you. She was throwing you under the bus to impress her colleagues. Asher nodded. We tried talking to her this morning. Asked her why she said those things. She just kept saying you embarrassed her, that you ruined her career, that you're being vindictive because you're jealous of her success. That's not true, I said firmly. I've never been jealous of your mother's success. I've supported her career for years. But what I won't support is her lying about who I am to make herself look better. The burgers arrived. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Ava said, So what happens now? Are you and Mom getting divorced? Probably. Yes. Where are you staying? With Aunt Claire for now. But I'm looking for a place. And no matter what happens between your mother and me, you kids will always have both of us. You understand that, right? They both nodded, but I could see the doubt in their eyes. They'd just learned their father had been living a secret life for their entire existence. How could they trust anything I said now? Can I ask you something? Asher said. That letter Austin Hampton sent Mom. The one about pushing your company in a direction that makes their lives easier. What did that mean? I stopped mid-bite. How do you know about that letter? Mom left her laptop open this morning. We saw an email from Austin apologizing for everything getting out of hand. We read some of the old ones too. So they knew. About the affair, about the plans, about all of it. I don't know yet what it means, I admitted. But I'm going to find out. 3 days after the party, I sat in a private investigator's office in downtown Manhattan. Michael Warren spread photos across his desk. Your wife and Austin Hampton have been meeting at the Riverside Inn every Thursday afternoon for the past 3 years, Warren said. Always the same room. Always checked in under fake names. Here's the documentation. I looked at the photos. Adelaide's car in the parking lot. Austin's Mercedes beside it. Timestamps showing they arrived separately, but left together. Receipts from the hotel, charged to Austin's personal credit card. There's something else, Warren continued. He pulled out another folder. You asked me to look into any unusual financial activity. I found this. He slid a bank statement across the desk. Austin Hampton has been making monthly deposits into an offshore account. $20,000 every month for 2 years. That's embezzlement, I said. That's what I thought. But look at the account holder. He pointed to a name. Adelaide Shepard. My stomach dropped. She's been taking money from my company. Looks that way. Austin's been skimming from Summit's discretionary funds and funneling it to your wife. Nothing huge. Small enough to slip past audits if you're not looking carefully. But over 2 years. Warren did quick math. That's close to $500,000. I sat back in my chair. The affair was bad enough. But theft? Corporate fraud? Using her position to steal from me? There's more, Warren said. I found communications between Adelaide and Austin discussing restructuring opportunities at Summit Manufacturing. They were planning something, Mr. Shepard, something that involved pushing out key personnel and installing people loyal to them. They were trying to take over my company, or at least position themselves to benefit from it. Austin as CEO, Adelaide as director of operations, with a network of people they placed in strategic positions. Eventually, they could have made decisions that hurt Summit but helped them personally. I thought about Brett Hamilton, Adelaide's younger brother. He worked on the production floor at Summit's main facility. Decent guy, hard worker. Did he know what his sister was planning? I need you to find out if Brett Hamilton was involved, I said. He's Adelaide's brother. Works in our Ohio facility. I'll look into it. Warren closed the folders. What are you going to do with this information? Good question. I had proof of adultery, embezzlement, and conspiracy. I could destroy Adelaide professionally and legally. Send her to prison. Probably. Ruin Austin completely. But our kids would see all of it. Would know their mother was a criminal. That damage would last forever. I need one more thing, I said. DNA tests. For all 4 kids. Can you arrange that discreetly? Warren's expression shifted. You think some of them aren't yours? I need to know. Adelaide and Austin have been together 3 years. Owen is 12. Ellie is 10. The timeline works. I need to know the truth. I can have collection kits sent to your sister's address. Results in 5 days. I left Warren's office feeling sick. The affair was one thing. But if Austin was the father of my younger children, if I'd been raising another man's kids while he and Adelaide laughed about it. My phone rang. Claire. Ryan. You need to come to my house. Now. What's wrong? Brett Hamilton is here. He wants to talk to you. Says it's urgent. I drove to Ridgefield in 20 minutes. Brett's truck was in Claire's driveway. He met me at the door, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what they were planning until it was too late. We sat in Claire's living room. Brett told me everything. Adelaide recruited me 2 years ago, he said. Asked me to report on production issues, employee complaints, anything that could be used to justify restructuring. She said it was to help improve efficiency. I didn't know she and Austin were using that information to identify people to fire and replace with their own people. Did you know about the affair? Brett nodded miserably. I found out about 6 months ago. Saw them together at a restaurant in Cleveland when I was visiting friends. I confronted Adelaide. She told me to keep my mouth shut, or she'd make sure I lost my job. Your own sister threatened you. She's changed, Ryan. The last few years, she became someone I don't recognize. Ambitious, ruthless. Said she was tired of living in your shadow, tired of pretending to be middle class when she deserved better. Did she ever say anything about the kids? About Owen and Ellie? Brett's face went pale. Why are you asking that? Brett, I need to know. Are they mine? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, 3 years ago, Adelaide told me she was pregnant with Ellie. Said there'd been a complication, but everything worked out. I didn't understand what she meant at the time, but after I found out about Austin. You think he's the father? I think it's possible. I'm sorry, Ryan. I should have told you sooner. The DNA results came back on a Tuesday. I was at Claire's house when the email arrived. Sat in the guest room, staring at the screen for 5 minutes before I could open it. For tests. For children. Asher. 99.9% probability of paternity. Mine. Ava. 99.9% probability of paternity. Mine. Owen. 0% probability of paternity. Not mine. Ellie. 0% probability of paternity. Not mine. I read those numbers 3 times. Owen and Ellie weren't my biological children. I'd spent 12 and 10 years raising them, loving them, being their father. And they weren't mine. Claire found me 20 minutes later, still sitting there. Ryan? What's wrong? I couldn't speak. Just turned the laptop toward her. Watch her face as she read the results. Oh God, she whispered. Ryan, I'm so sorry. I need to tell them. The kids. They deserve to know. Are you sure? Ryan, this will destroy them. They're going to find out eventually. Better it comes from me. I stood up. I need to see them. All of them. Today. I called Asher. Can you get everyone together? Your mom too. We need to have a family meeting. About what? I'll explain when I get there. Just trust me, okay? An hour later, I walked into my house for the first time since the party. Adelaide was in the living room with all 4 kids. She glared at me. What's this about, Ryan? The lawyer said we're not supposed to have contact without Dash. Shut up, Adelaide. My voice was cold. For once, just shut up and listen. I looked at my children. At Asher and Ava, who were genetically mine. At Owen and Ellie, who weren't. There's something you all need to know. I began. Something I just found out myself. I pulled out the DNA results. I had genetic testing done. For all 4 of you. Adelaide's face went white. You had no right, Dash. I had every right. And the results are clear. Asher and Ava are my biological children. Owen and Ellie are not. The silence was deafening. Owen, 12 years old, stared at me. What are you saying? I'm saying Austin Hampton is your biological father. Yours and Ellie's. Ellie started crying. Owen just sat there, frozen. Asher and Ava looked at their mother with expressions of complete disgust. How could you? Ava said. Mom, how could you do this to them? To Dad. Adelaide stood up, shaking. You bastard. You told them. You told the children. They deserve the truth. They're kids, Ryan. They didn't need to know this. Yes, they did. Because you sure as hell weren't going to tell them. I turned to Owen and Ellie. Listen to me. Both of you. This doesn't change how I feel about you. You're still my kids. DNA doesn't define family. Love does. And I love you both exactly the same as I always have. Owen shook his head. You're not my dad. You've been lying this whole time. I didn't know, Owen. I swear I didn't know. But you suspected. His voice broke. That's why you did the test. You suspected we weren't yours, and you were right. Ellie ran out of the room, sobbing. Ava followed her. Asher just sat there, staring at Adelaide with an expression of pure hatred. You destroyed this family, he said to his mother. You destroyed all of us. Adelaide pointed at me. This is your fault. You had to dig, had to investigate, had to ruin everything because your pride was hurt. My pride. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Adelaide, you've been having an affair for 3 years. You had another man's children and let me raise them as mine. You stole $500,000 from my company, and you're talking about my pride. Her expression shifted. You know about the money? I know about everything. The offshore account, the embezzlement, your plans to take over Summit Manufacturing. I have documentation, Adelaide. Proof of every crime you've committed. You can't prove anything, Dash. I can prove all of it. And I will. In court, where it matters. I headed for the door. My lawyers will be in touch. We're done here. As I left, I heard Owen crying. Heard Asher trying to comfort him. Heard Adelaide screaming at me about how I'd ruined everything. But I didn't stop. Didn't look back. I'd given her 20 years of my life. 20 years of loyalty and love and trust. She'd thrown it all away for money and status and a man who'd helped her betray me. Now she could live with the consequences. 2 weeks after I told the kids about the DNA results, Asher called me at 2 in the morning. Dad, you need to come to Mercy Hospital. Now. My heart stopped. What happened? Owen. He took Mom's car. Crashed into a guardrail on Route 9. He's alive, but Dad, he's hurt bad. I was dressed and in my truck in 3 minutes. Made it to the hospital in 15, breaking every speed limit. Found Asher in the ER waiting room with Ava and Ellie. Adelaide was there too, sitting apart from them. Where is he? I demanded. Surgery, Ava said. Her eyes were red from crying. His leg is broken in 3 places. Concussion. They think his spleen might be ruptured. I sat down hard. Owen, my 12-year-old son, not biologically mine, but mine in every way that mattered, was in surgery because his world had fallen apart. What was he doing out at 2 a.m.? I asked. Ellie spoke up, her voice small. He's been sneaking out at night. Ever since you told us about the DNA. He goes driving, just drives around. Says it helps him think. He doesn't even have a license, I said. He took Mom's keys from her purse. Asher explained. Been doing it for a week. We didn't tell anyone because we thought he'd stop. I looked at Adelaide. She was staring at the floor, saying nothing. This is your fault, I said to her. All of this. Owen's in there because you destroyed his sense of who he is. Don't you dare, Adelaide hissed. You're the one who told him. You're the one who couldn't leave it alone. He deserved the truth. He deserved a father who protected him, not one who destroyed him with information he wasn't ready for. Ava stood up. Stop it. Both of you. Owen's in surgery, and you're fighting about who's to blame. She was right. I took a breath. You're right. I'm sorry. The surgeon came out 3 hours later. Owen's stable. The surgery went well. His leg will heal, and we managed to save his spleen. He's going to be okay. Relief flooded through me. Can I see him? He's in recovery. Give it another hour. When they finally let me in, Owen was awake. His leg was in a cast, suspended in traction. His face was bruised, one eye swollen shut. Hey, buddy, I said softly. I'm sorry, Dad. His voice was rough. I'm sorry I took the car. I wasn't trying to crash. I just needed to get away from everything. I know. I pulled a chair next to his bed. Owen, I need you to understand something. What I told you about the DNA, I know it hurt. I know it changed how you see yourself. But it doesn't change how I see you. You're my son. Nothing will ever change that. But I'm not really yours. I'm Austin Hampton's. Biology doesn't make you someone's son. Love does. Choice does. I chose to be your father every single day for 12 years. That doesn't stop because of some test result. Owen's eyes filled with tears. It feels like my whole life was a lie. Your life wasn't a lie. Your mother's choices were. But you're exactly who you've always been. Smart, funny, brave. My son. He started crying. I held his hand until he fell asleep. Outside, Adelaide was waiting. Can I see him? He needs rest. He's my son, Ryan. Is he? Or is he just a reminder of your affair? Another piece of collateral damage from your choices. I started walking toward the exit. You've caused enough harm, Adelaide. Stay away from him until he's ready to see you. The day after Owen's accident, I filed criminal charges against Adelaide and Austin. Embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy. The district attorney was very interested in the $500,000 they'd stolen. Austin's lawyer called me 2 days later. Mr. Shepard, my client would like to meet with you. Privately. Why would I meet with a man who's been sleeping with my wife and stealing from my company? Because he has information you'll want to hear. About your wife's plans. We met at a coffee shop in White Plains. Austin looked terrible, unshaven, dark circles under his eyes, 20 pounds lighter than at the party. Thank you for coming, Austin said. You have 5 minutes. Adelaide's planning to claim you were abusive, financially and emotionally. She's going to argue that everything she did was survival, that you controlled her, isolated her, made her dependent. That's absurd. It doesn't matter if it's true. It matters if it's believable. And she's very believable, Ryan. She's already got 3 colleagues ready to testify that you seemed controlling, that she complained about you limiting her freedom. I felt cold. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm done protecting her. Austin's hands shook as he lifted his coffee cup. I thought we loved each other. Thought she and I would build something together. But the moment things went bad, she threw me under the bus. Told investigators I manipulated her into the embezzlement. That I coerced her into the affair. That she was a victim. Were you Owen and Ellie's father before this mess? Austin's face paled. What? Simple question. Did you know Owen and Ellie were biologically yours? He was silent for a long moment. Yes. Adelaide told me 3 years ago. Said we had to be careful. That if you found out, everything would fall apart. She promised me that once we took control of Summit Manufacturing, we'd be together. The kids would know the truth. You were planning to take my children. I was planning to be honest with them about who I was. Adelaide's the one who insisted on lying. And the money? The embezzlement. Austin looked away. That was her idea. Said we needed nest egg for when we finally left you. I went along with it. I was stupid. Thought I was in love. Where's the money now? Offshore accounts. Adelaide has control of all of them. She cut me out completely after the party. You pulled out a flash drive. Everything's on here. Account numbers, passwords, transaction histories. Take it. Use it against her. I don't care anymore. She destroyed my life. My wife left me. My kids won't talk to me. I'm facing criminal charges. All for a woman who never actually loved me. I took the flash drive. This doesn't make us even, Austin. You still stole from me. Still slept with my wife. Still hurt my kids. I know. But maybe this helps balance the scales a little. I left him sitting there, alone with his regrets. That night, I gave the flash drive to my lawyers. The next morning, they filed motions to freeze all of Adelaide's accounts. Every dollar she'd stolen, locked down. She called me screaming. You can't do this. That money is mine. That money is stolen. And now it's evidence. Hope you have a good lawyer, Adelaide. You're going to need one. Adelaide refused the settlement. Said she'd fight me in court. Prove I was controlling and abusive. Take half of everything I owned. Her lawyer was confident they could paint me as a manipulative billionaire who trapped an innocent woman in a web of lies. The trial started 6 months after the party. Owen was out of his cast by then, walking with a slight limp the doctors said would fade. He'd asked to testify on my behalf. So had Asher and Ava. Adelaide's lawyer started strong. Called colleagues who said I seemed distant at company events. A therapist who'd seen Adelaide twice and diagnosed her with symptoms of emotional abuse. Even Brett tried to help his sister, saying I'd been controlling about family finances. Then my lawyers went to work. They presented the letters between Adelaide and Austin. 3 years of affair documentation, including detailed discussions about stealing from Summit Manufacturing and eventually pushing me out of my own company. They showed the offshore accounts, the embezzled funds, the systematic fraud. But the moment that changed everything was when they called Owen to the stand. My 12-year-old son, still recovering from the accident, walked to the witness box with his head high. Adelaide's lawyer tried to go easy on him, asked softball questions about family life. Then my lawyer asked, Owen, did you know Austin Hampton before your mother's promotion party? Yes, Owen said clearly. He came to our house sometimes when Dad was away on business. Mom said he was a colleague, but I saw them kissing in the kitchen once. I was 10. The courtroom went silent. Did you tell anyone? My lawyer asked. I told Mom I saw. She said it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that I should never tell Dad because it would hurt him. She said if I told, it would destroy our family. How did that make you feel? Owen's voice faltered, like I was responsible for keeping the family together. Like if I said anything, it would be my fault if everything fell apart. I carried that secret for 2 years, until Dad found out anyway. Adelaide was crying at the defense table, but the jury wasn't looking at her with sympathy. They were looking at her with disgust. The verdict came back 3 days later. Adelaide was found guilty of embezzlement and fraud, sentenced to 4 years in prison, suspended to 2 with good behavior, and full restitution. Austin got 3 years. The divorce settlement gave me primary custody of all 4 kids. Adelaide got supervised visitation and had to repay the stolen money with interest. She kept her retirement account and her car. I kept everything else. As we left the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. I didn't answer questions, just put my arm around Owen and walked to the car. Dad, Owen said once we were inside, are you okay? I'm okay, buddy. You did great up there. I told the truth. That's what you taught me to do. I'm proud of you. So proud. Asher drove us home. He'd gotten his license 2 months earlier. Ava and Ellie were waiting at Claire's house with pizza and a cake that said, "It's over" in bright blue frosting. Aunt Claire helped us make it. Ellie explained. She was doing better now, seeing a therapist twice a week, slowly understanding that none of this was her fault. We ate dinner as a family, laughed about nothing important, didn't talk about the trial or Adelaide or what came next, just enjoyed being together. Later, after the kids went to bed, Claire found me on the back porch. You did it, she said. You protected them, told the truth, survived, barely, but you did. And now you get to rebuild. Live honestly. Be yourself without hiding. She was right. For the first time in 20 years, I could just be Ryan Shepherd. No secrets. No lies. Just me. 14 months after the party, I stood in the new Summit manufacturing headquarters in Cleveland. Modern building, state-of-the-art facilities, room to expand. I'd moved the main operations from New York, wanted a fresh start. Brett Hamilton was there, now a production supervisor. After the trial, he'd come to me, apologized for his role in Adelaide's schemes, asked for a chance to prove himself. I'd given him that chance. He'd earned his promotion through hard work and integrity. The new assembly line's running at 98% efficiency, Brett said, showing me the numbers. Best we've ever done. Good work. Your sister taught you some things, even if they weren't all honest. Brett smiled sadly. Adelaide's getting out next month. Early release for good behavior. She asked if the kids would visit her. What did they say? Asher and Ava said maybe someday. Owen and Ellie said no. Not yet. I wasn't surprised. Owen had been clear about his feelings. He knew Adelaide was his biological mother, but he'd chosen me as his father. The DNA didn't matter to him anymore. He was a shepherd, and that was that. Ellie had taken longer to process everything. She'd asked me once if Austin Hampton ever wanted to meet her. I told her the truth. He'd written letters from prison, asking about her and Owen, wanting to establish some kind of relationship. She'd said no. She had a father. She didn't need another one. My phone buzzed. A text from Asher. Dad, Ava got her college acceptance letter. Cornell. She's freaking out. I smiled. Ava wanted to study engineering, follow in her grandfather's footsteps. Asher was looking at business schools, talking about maybe working at Summit someday. Owen was doing well in 8th grade, talking about trying out for baseball. Ellie had joined the school choir and discovered she could sing. They were healing. We all were. You should go, Brett said. Celebrate with your kids. This can wait. I drove back to Westchester, to the new house I bought 6 months ago. Smaller than the old one, but ours. No memories of Adelaide's betrayal. Just clean walls and new beginnings. The kids met me at the door, all talking at once about Ava's acceptance and what it meant and where Cornell was and how far away that would be. We're ordering Chinese food to celebrate, Asher announced. Ava's choice, since she's a genius. I'm not a genius, you idiot. I just worked hard. Same thing, Owen said, grinning. We crowded around the kitchen table, passing cartons of food, arguing about movies to watch later, planning a trip to visit Cornell's campus. Normal family chaos. The kind I'd dreamed about during the trial, during the dark months when everything was falling apart. After dinner, Ava found me in my study. Dad, can I ask you something? Always. Do you regret it? Everything that happened. Telling the truth at the party. I thought about that. Thought about the pain, the publicity, the trial. Thought about Owen's accident, the kids learning about the DNA, the months of therapy and tears and difficult conversations. No, I said finally. I don't regret it. Because it led to this. To us being honest with each other. To you kids knowing who I really am and choosing to love me anyway. To building something real instead of living a lie. Good, Ava said. Because I'm proud of you, Dad. For being brave enough to tell the truth, even when it was hard. That night, after everyone went to bed, I sat in the study looking at photos. My kids growing up. My grandfather at Summit's original factory. My sister Claire at her wedding. Pictures of a life fully lived. Mistakes and all. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number. Ryan, this is Maria from the literacy program at Bradford Community Center. We heard you moved to Cleveland. We'd love to have you volunteer here. Teaching adults to read. Helping immigrants with citizenship tests. Same work you used to do in New York. Interested? I smiled and typed back. Very interested. When can I start? Because that work, helping people, making a difference, using my resources for good. That was who I really was. Not the billionaire. Not the wronged husband. Just Ryan Shepherd. A man who believed everyone deserved dignity and a chance to succeed. The secrets were gone. The lies were over. And for the first time in 20 years, I could finally be myself.